Howdy, folks. Welcome to this week's Ag Report. So you may have recently heard that the county commissioners here in Ellis County enacted a 90-day burn ban because of the dry conditions that we've been having. And if you drive around, you may have seen some grass fires. There was a pretty large one over near Ennis on the east side over there around Farm to Market 85 and Highway 34. If you go a little bit west towards Wichita Falls, there's quite a few grass fires that have been over there. If you go out Highway 287, I was recently out that way, and lots of acres burned there. So, wanted to just share with you a little bit about what that looks like from a rancher or even a farmer perspective. So you may be going around and you may look and you see standing grass still in the pastures. And you may think, well, hey, why don't they just mow that down? And then that'll be less of a fire risk. Well, certainly understand the intention that you might have mowing that down, but you got to remember that just because grass has been frosted on doesn't mean it is not still edible for the cattle. That's what we call standing forage. So yes, a lot of times in the wintertime, you may see, if we had some good fall rains, you may see some standing grass still in pastures, and folks will put out, they have syrup that they can put out on these big licking wheels. They have tubs that they can put out. And what that does is that kind of wets the whistle for the cattle and gets their enzymes going to where they want to go out and eat that standing grass. And so that saves labor and things like that on hay. So also you've got hay piles around. This is very worrisome whenever you have wildfires, grass fires, that kind of stuff, because you can't just move big piles of hay in a hurry. They where you put them is kind of where they are. Now, it's easy to say, well, oh, you just scatter that hay around and it's less of risk. Well, yes, it is. But you also got to remember, like we've talked about before, you want to have it in places that you can access when it does get wet. And you have to have it to where maybe you have a fence around it so that the cattle don't get in there, and you can kind of manage your hay supply. And I have, been through hay fires where I've had big piles of hay burn. And it's kind of one of those quick things, slow things. So in other words, the fire spreads very quickly over the hay pile. And, we have sometimes been able to salvage some bales out of it, maybe on the backside upwind from it while it was, trying to burn. But it spreads pretty quickly across the hay. But then it slows down, and you can't just put those things out. We've had a lot of help from the fire departments over the years trying to put them out, but they're generally going to burn for a couple of days before they burn out. You just really can't stop them. The best thing you can do is kind of clear everything around it and just let them kind of burn out. But that's a big loss to producers. So a lot of times what they'll try and do in conditions like this, they may plow a couple of laps around that stuff to kind of make a little fire break if there was a fire to go there. You may notice on some pastures around fence lines, folks plowing some fire breaks around it. They may be, 15, 20 foot wide, something like that. It's not a guarantee that it'll stop that fire, but what it can do is it can slow it down maybe enough that those rural firefighters can get ahead of it a little bit. Sometimes just little things like that make a big difference to slowing these things down in through there. So just remember, as you're driving around, if you happen to be smoking cigarettes or whatever, I know a lot of times it's just an instinctive habit to flick it out the window there. Try and restrain from that, because those little cigarette butts on the side of the road can do that. Glass bottles and things like that. We've had some fires focused on the bottom of those bottles. It doesn't take much to get things going when that humidity gets down. Even if you've got, problems with a trailer, a wheel bearing going out or something like that, any kind of little sparks and stuff can set things off. So kind of keep your head on a swivel when you're driving around. If you see something start to burn, pick up that phone and call the local authorities, see if you can get somebody out there to slow these things down. And, hopefully we'll get some moisture back in here. We're going to need some sustained moisture. Just one rain isn't going to fix it. Doesn't mean that we get one rain or one snowfall or something like that. The burn ban is gone. We're going to need some sustained rainfall events to put moisture back into the ground and to get some winter grasses growing. When you get a little bit of those winter grasses growing, the ryegrass, the oats, the wheat, stuff like that, then that will kind of thicken up and it slows down. If there was a fire to happen, there's not as much dry material there. Now you've got some green material mixed in it, and it'll more or less kind of smolder, and you can get ahead of that stuff. So anyways, just thought we would share that, kind of some current events there happening around Ellis County, probably multiple counties around the state. If you look at the drought index indicator map, most of the state is in a period of drought to extreme drought as you go out west. So anyways, remember your farmers and ranchers, and hopefully we'll have a better spring coming up here soon. Y'all take care now.